Thank you very much. Good morning, Terra Homikust, Estonia. I've come here today to empower you to be able to create a competitive advantage. And I want to give you the skills, the tools, and the confidence to put digital at the core of your transformation. And I'm going to be presenting Industry 5.0 to you, and I thrive on the energy in the room. So shall we try that again? Terra Homikust, Estonia! Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, before I start to share with you how there is an evolution from Industry 4.0 to 5.0, I would like to introduce to you to a good friend of mine. This is Mr. M&M, and I asked him to create something very special for you today. So sit back and enjoy Mr. M&M.
Eminem here. My good friend Warren Knight wanted me to rap for you. Listen up, everyone, I got a story to tell about a country in Europe where they're doing it well. I'm talking about Estonia, a land of innovation where manufacturing is thriving, it's no exaggeration. They've got a great economy and making moves. In 2023, they're leaving other countries in the dust, it's true. They're using technology to revolutionize the game, and their factories are churning out products with speed and name. Manufacturing in Estonia, it's the real deal. They're taking the lead and they're making it feel like anything's possible. They're reaching for the sky. And in 2023, they're gonna pass you by. It's not just about the machines, it's about the people too. Estonia's got a skill with force, they know what to do. They're training, they're ready. They're working hard every day to make sure that their products are the best in every way. From electronics to textiles, they're making it all. And when it comes to quality, they stand tall. Their products are reliable, they're built to last. And in 2023, they're gonna make a blast. So if you're in the game and you wanna compete, you better step it up. Cause Estonia's gonna be you in your own game. They're gonna take the crown. And in 2023, they're gonna turn heads around. They've got a vision for the future. They're thinking ahead. And their commitment to excellence can't be overstated. They're pushing the limits. They're breaking new ground. And in 2023, they're gonna stand tall and proud. So there you have it, folks. The story's been told. Estonia's manufacturing. It's on the roll. And in 2023, they're gonna take it to the top. So watch out, world, cause Estonia is not gonna stop. Thank you and let me welcome to the stage to talk about Industry 5.0. Warren Knight.
Thank you very much, Mr. M&M. I'm gonna let you into a little secret. That wasn't M&M. I created that using AI. Everything that you heard just then, I created it in less than 5 minutes. I used 3 pieces of technology. I used ChatGPT to be able to create a rap for you in the style of M&M, talking about manufacturing in Estonia in 2023. Just out of curiosity, how many of you here have played with and started to use ChatGPT? Just let me know. Very good, excellent. So then I took that piece of content and I put it into an AI voice tool called Uberduck, which then created the words and put it into M&M's voice. I then used an AI tool called Midjourney to create the image of Mr. M&M and then bringing everything together. ChatGPT for the content, I used Uberduck for the voice, and then I used Midjourney to create the image of M&M. All of that was done in a matter of minutes. There was no coding, 0 code using AI to facilitate an outcome for you today. So during the journey that I'm going to be taking you on today, I want you to be thinking about the value that this new wave of technology can bring to your organization. But before we do that, I want to highlight to you some of the evolutions that are happening globally around the world at the moment. It is called 5.0. The first evolution that's happening. Now, you'll notice that I'm not saying revolution. This is a line extension of 4.0 to 5.0. We are not revolutionizing the way that we're working. 4.0 did that for us. Governments are changing all around the world at the moment to be a little bit more human citizen-centric. And governments are really driving that. Estonia and Tallinn is a great example of that, fantastic case study. We've also got Industry 5.0. The online world of education has revolutionized by using technology, except there's been a little piece that's been missing. And that little piece going through the educational journey of using technology is that I am human. There are other people at the end of the computer for the education industry. So they are evolving at the moment. Then there is the manufacturing industry. And I'm going to be talking to you about the 3 pillars of Industry 5.0. And then we have Citizen 5.0, which is where individuals, families, couples are all coming together to create a better world for our future. So everywhere around the world at the moment is going through an evolution, not a revolution. Now, before I came here today, I asked if I could speak to some of you in the manufacturing industry. And I had some conversations with you. And I gleaned some information. Now, I understand the challenges that you have at the moment. But what I want to do for you is really just share with you very quickly about some of the things that are complex with the way that we are doing business at the moment, based on the information that I received. There is disruption in our marketplace. Innovation is happening every single day. We are going through growth. There are new business models that are being created with the value that we bring for digital technology. However, problems are fluid. They are complex. We are challenged by some of these problems with the industry that we're in. And your success depends on how quickly we can take a look at what that problem is and solve that complex problem. So these are just some of the challenges that you've got right now. But I want to share with you that there is a future in sight. And I love this quote. When we think about everything that we've gone through, especially over the last 3 years, and the challenges that we've had, you are still here today because it's not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one that is most adaptable. Adaptable to change. And so, on the screen here, you have a little friend of mine. He is called a tadpole shrimp. He has been on Earth for over 220 million years. He's been adaptable to change. And he's definitely not the strongest of the species, or probably the most intelligent. So my name's Warren Knight. I'm going to be with you probably for about the next 30 minutes now. I've been doing technology for the last 15 years. I spent 11 years in China doing manufacturing. I worked with Disney. I sold products globally all around the world. So I very much, in 1997, was the first time I stepped into a manufacturing plant, a proper manufacturing plant, over in China. Now, from a very young age, I've been manufacturing garments and products and distributing, but the manufacturing plants over in China, for me, opened up a whole new world for me. And I spent 11 years creating products with manufacturing plants over in China. And I then evolved into the technology space, where I built 2 technology companies. One of them I sold, one of them I got investment into and had shareholders and investors. But unfortunately, with my next round of investments, I had to close the company down. And that, for me, was a very painful but an incredible journey that I went on. So then I wrote a book about it, as you do. When you go through failure, you write books about it. So I created a book called Think Digital First, which was really about individuals, and this was back in 2014 I wrote this book, so nearly 10 years ago, to get individuals to be thinking about how technology can really transform the way that we do business. And bringing you a little bit up to date, I've got a new book coming out, hopefully in the next couple of months, which is called Everyday Transformation, which is looking at this revolution that we're going through within business and the evolution that we can create with a very clear vision. I've worked with a lot of companies globally around the world, and I'm very fortunate enough to do some traveling. Last week, I was in Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. A couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be in Copenhagen. And I get to travel all around the world and work within organizations as a practitioner. My passion really lies from being here up on stage. And I'm going to share with you a little bit my journey of being up on stage in a moment. However, technology has always been something that I've been passionate about. Ever since the age of 13, when I get my Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Anybody here old enough to remember Sinclair ZX Spectrums? There's a little hand went up in a room over there. So I've always used technology as a way to achieve an outcome. And when I went through the pain of losing my second technology company, I realized that there was more to life than just working 24 hours a day. I realized that there was something that was missing in my life. So I picked up my mobile phone, I went onto a little app inside of my mobile phone, and I swiped right on my mobile phone with a little picture inside of my mobile phone. I then found somebody who swiped right on me, and then that person, we then connected. But the moral of the story is that I ended up getting married with the person who swiped right using a piece of technology with me. Now, I was very transparent in regards to what I was looking for when I went onto this app to be able to get the outcome that I wanted. And so with that transparency, this person knew exactly the journey that we needed to go on. And that particular journey took us down a route of using artificial intelligence. And so we went through a process of actually doing 3 rounds of fertility treatment to get this beautiful little baby girl. So this is Dixie. She is now 6 years old. These are her favorite chickens, Mavis and Hey Hey. We have about 13 chickens at home. But when Dixie came along, we became a mum and a dad. But Dixie had different ideas. Dixie then said, do you know what? I want to be a family. And then Blossom came along. Now, Blossom came along completely naturally. So the way that I look at this, it was buy one, get one free. So I got told over 23 years ago that I could never have children. And this was the reason why I was very transparent in my dating app communication. So to have these 2 beautiful baby girls with me is absolutely incredible. However, sometimes if you have children, you know that you need to be quite strong inside of your mind. So what I do, and a piece of data that was shared with me as I walked through the airport, I'm joining the Estonians. Well, 1 in 5 Estonians, because I have ice baths. I have an ice bath at home that resets my mind when I have these 2 beautiful little girls running around me when I'm trying to work. So I do enjoy having an ice bath. Anybody here heard of Wim Hof? You know Wim Hof? Yeah, lovely. I spent the weekend with Wim at his home in Stru in Holland. And he taught me all of the skills from being inside of the ice bath and also breathing, which really helps me manage the expectations of my children. But enough about me. Let's go to you. Data tells us that 70% of all digital initiatives fail. 70%. What is it that we do to make the idea of where we want to go, that vision that we have of creating value in our organization, why does it fail? What is it about what we do on a day-to-day basis that doesn't enable us to get to where we want to go to? Now, the data also tells us that 50% of all projects fail. And these are real statistics that are out online at the moment. So how do we manage the expectations within our organization? Well, for me, it's about turning the dials. It's about taking one core component of the way that we do business and our organization and just turning that dial by one. One small element within our organization can help us go through the journey of our digital transformation to achieve the success. Now, when I had a conversation with quite a few of you before I came here today, as I mentioned, I very quickly realized that some of you are still in Industry 3.0. So what I wanted to do today for you, and I'm sure you've already seen this, so I apologize to those that have already seen this, but I wanted to reiterate this to you. Statistics say that for us to break old habits and build new habits, we need to do something 66 times to create old habits and build new ones. So what I want to touch on just very briefly for you, and I want to contextualize it for you for what it means for Industry 5.0, is a smart industry readiness index, nicknamed Siri. Just out of curiosity, who here is using this as benchmark at the moment? Just let me know if you're using this within your industry. Okay, so there's a couple of you. So what I want to do then is, this is about helping you benchmark where you are today and giving you a scorecard to know exactly what we need to evolve, what we need to change with what we're doing. The first part of this index is all about the process. It's how do we create value inside of our organization by changing the way that we do things. Now, there are various different tools that allow us to do this. There's a great tool out there which really helps us find the problems, which is called design thinking. It's a methodology and a philosophy with built-in tools to help us find problems in our organization, of which then, when we find those problems, we can take action on them. And then we look at our supply chain, whether it's upstream or downstream, depending on where you are, and understanding where are the gaps that we need to fill in this. And then we think about our products, that infinity loop of life cycle of products. How can we create value in building a digital version of something that was analog in the past? So this Siri enables you to not only benchmark, but also do a little nice checklist of where you are today and where you need to go to. The second part of the Siri is the technology part. So I'm going to simplify this for you when we think about the technology, and I'm going to put it in the form of the human body. When we look at going through an automation process, this, for me, is the muscles inside of our body. This is what makes us move and have strength around what we're doing. So the automation aspect is all about the muscles in our body. The connectivity is how we connect all of the different parts of our body together. It's that nervous system. As we move, things change for us. And so connectivity is key to the success of this. And the third part is the intelligence, which ultimately comes from the brain. So we connect the brain to our nervous system, enable our muscles to be able to move. And again, each one of these core elements allows us to understand where we are today and where we need to go to tomorrow. And what I love about this the most is the human elements part of it, which is where we're going to be talking about 5.0, which is where we can be talent ready. In other words, that new wave of talented individuals that want to come into work for your business. Is your business ready for them? My girls are Generation Alpha at the moment, and we made the decision to home educate our children because I want them to be ready for what the future looks like. Because jobs haven't even been created for my children yet. And so what I want to do is make sure that they are ready as the world evolves. And so within that process, we need to have the right strategy and governance inside of our organization to make sure that when somebody wants to come into work in our business, there is a values match in regards to where we are today and where we're going, and the values this individual has on creating digital-ready solutions for us, for our organization. So this is Siri. It has 3 core building blocks. It has 8 pillars and 16 dimensions to it. And every single one of these dimensions, you can create a scorecard and understand where you are today and where you need to be tomorrow. So I wanted to highlight this to you just based on a couple of the conversations that I'd had with a few people. So let's create some common language with us today. And as we evolve through our digital transformation, and remember, digital transformation is not somewhere where we finish. It's not an end game. Digital transformation is a journey that we go on. So I want to share with you the stage 1 of the digital transformation, and it's called digitization, creating a common language between ourselves. And this is where we're taking what we used to do traditionally, and we are creating a better version of it using technology. Whether that's just going to paperless, so we can be more sustainable, more efficient in the way that we run our business, or that we're looking to automate some of the processes inside of our organization, whether that comes from HR, whether that's operations, whether that's finance, whether that's the sales and marketing, the customer acquisition journey, whatever that might be. How can we automate some of those processes, removing the human element out of that equation? So this, for me, is stage 1 of going through your transformation. Stage 2 is what's called digitalization. So this is, again, an extension of what we've just been talking about. This is where we used to do things traditionally from a physical perspective. And then we created digital versions of it, which allowed our employees, allowed our customers, so what I like to call our internal customer and our external customer, to have a better understanding of where we are at in our production at the moment, where we are at in our sales, in our onboarding process. We're able to digitalize that. And then it's where we take that technology and we just make it invisible. I've worked with organizations that have only ever sold products. They create, they build, and they sell products. When you see the value in going through a digital transformation from physical to digital to invisible, you create new solutions. You create a solution that is 100% digital. You can then take that solution, create your own IP around it, take it out of the organization, and give it its own heartbeat. It is a 100% digital-ready solution that you can then sell back to your industry, potentially as a SaaS platform, making annuity income, making money while you sleep. You've spent decades, some of you, creating products. How can we take that methodology and build it as a digitally enabled solution and create a new business model for your organization? Now, one traditional manufacturer did this really well. Anybody here play tennis? Let me know if you play tennis here. Okay, we've got a few fans of tennis here. Babelot, a traditional French manufacturer, tiny little village in the middle of France, creating wooden tennis rackets. They realized that one day that they need to evolve from being a traditional business into a technology company. So what they did, they created a tennis racket that had sensors built into the tennis racket. Why would they do that? Because they wanted to create a new business model. Creating a business model which then its customers would go to their smartphone or their tablet, download the Babelot app, and then when they're playing tennis, it gives them real-time data. In other words, the invisible aspect. The sensors feed data straight back to the headquarters in the middle of France. That data is then fed back to my app, which then tells me how well I'm playing, the air humidity, the speed at which I hit the ball, the angle at which I hit that ball, which then meant that the download of that app was on a subscription-based service, allowing now the end user who they're now talking to, because they were only a B2B business, to be able to have that invisible technology in real time to help them become a better tennis player. Now, what they then did that was really clever was they got the Lawn Tennis Association to rewrite the rule book. They changed the governance. And that governance then said that you can use technology to help you become a better player. And that was the new rule that was brought in. And so now they became from a traditional manufacturer through to a technology company, receiving ongoing, recurring payments through their SaaS platform. So how do we do this? And I had a good look around here this morning at some of the awesome manufacturers here that have technology. They've got robots there to help you do what you need to do. And I love this term, Cobots, collaborative robots. But I don't want you just to think about it from a physical perspective. This is also digital. As I mentioned, we can automate processes in our organization, robotic process automation. This is a Cobot. This allows you to understand how to create workflows, how to build dashboards, using tools like Alteryx, Power BI, UiPath, to take those mundane tasks that are on your desk and automate them for you, using no-code and low-code environments. So Cobots are here to be able to work alongside you, side by side, whether it's a physical robot or the digital robot. They're here to help you create. They're here to help you solve problems. They help you reduce errors, which ultimately then enables you to become more effective and more efficient in the work that you're doing. And so to achieve these outcomes and to go through this evolution of Industry 5.0, we need to embrace them and we need to make them part of our production process. Now, I had the pleasure, actually, of opening up the AI conference in Helsinki way before we went into this lockdown environment. And I had the pleasure of meeting Sophia, the android, who was created by Hanson Robotics. Now, what I would like to do, please, is I would like to demonstrate something to you. But for me to demonstrate something to you, I need to invite two people up onto the stage, please. So could I have those two people, please, up on stage? Thank you very much. Please, Otto, right? Please give him a round of applause. And Margita, is that right? Welcome to the stage. Thank you very much. If you could just stand over here for a minute for me. They're looking a little bit nervous. What do you reckon? So something that I, on purpose, didn't tell you earlier about myself is that when I was younger, I used to be on stage. But I used to be on stage in a very different way. I used to be a professional hip-hop dancer. So, when I met Sophia the android, I was given the opportunity to ask her questions. And I thought, what's one of the most important questions that you could ask a robot? So I thought to myself, I know the question that I'll ask her. So I turned around to Sophia, and I said, Sophia, can robots dance? Very important question, right, to ask. She looked, and she said, no, robots can't dance. So then I asked her another question. Well, if robots can't dance, can humans do the robot? And she said, do you know what? They can do the robot. So today, what I'd like to do for you is, as long as we have the right energy in the room, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to show these two individuals, first of all, how to do the moonwalk. And then we're going to finish doing the moonwalk with doing the robot, and then we might do a little wave for you, a little digital wave. How does that sound to you? Does that sound good? I think you can go and sit down because the audience don't want you to see this. Would you like to see Otto and Margrethe do the moonwalk and the robot on stage? Would you like to see that? Yeah, right, okay. So what I'd like to do now, please, especially if you're colleagues, is grab your mobile phone and record this moment. You can take it and put it on social media. I don't have a problem with it. You might ask their permission first of all. But grab your phone and get ready to film this. So I'm going to show you, first of all, how we can do the moonwalk. Now, just very quickly, I want to share with you this. I was actually over in Malaysia doing a conference, and the speaker before me was from NASA. So I asked him, do you want to come up on stage and I'll show you something? And he said, yeah, sure, no problem at all. So I got somebody from NASA. I taught him how to do the moonwalk on stage. How cool is that? Someone from NASA taught them how to do the moonwalk. I also taught Wim Hof as well how to do the moonwalk. So this is what we're going to do. Otto, can I have you here, please, at the front of the stage and face that wall there? Can I have you next to him, please, just there, and face that wall? So, yes, please. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how we do the moonwalk, right? And we're going to moonwalk backwards, and then we're going to turn to the audience, and then we're going to do some popping and locking. Is that all right? Okay, do we want to see this? Can we put our hands together, please, if we want to see this? Very good, excellent. So I'm going to show you how to do the hack. Okay, we're going to do a hack for the moonwalk. So the first thing I want you to do, with your right foot, I want you to get on the ball of your right foot, so your heel is in the air. Then what we do is we push down on the ball of our foot, so it pushes our body back, and then we lift our left foot up and do the same action. So what we're doing here is we start in this position, and then we put our heel down and push backwards, and as we do that, our left foot comes up and we go on the ball of our foot. So we do right up, left up, and as we do that, our body will naturally start to move across the stage, naturally. When we get to the end of the stage, I'd like to turn to the audience, please, and then we can do some popping and locking, and we might end up doing a little wave. Would that be all right? It's okay. You see her face, it's brilliant. Okay, so we'll start with our right foot in the air. Everybody ready for this? One more round of applause for them, please. Okay, we lift our right foot up in the air, and then we're going to push down and then moonwalk backwards. So we go up, down, up, down. You ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Very good. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right, turn to the audience. We do some popping and locking. Okay, and then just grab his hand. Grab his hand and then, okay, there we go. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. Give me a round of applause. Now, just before you go, I have a little something for you. That's for you. And because you said yes, first of all, there's a copy of my book and some Toblerone for you. One more time. Give a round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to see those posts on social media later. Right, let's talk to you about Industry 5.0. There are 3 core pillars to Industry 5.0. And remember, what we're talking about here is an evolution of 4.0, not a revolution. We are looking to evolve our business to be able to think differently in the way that we work. The first pillar of Industry 5.0 is about being human-centric. It's about you empowering your workforce to think differently, to be able to take them on the journey that you're going on at the moment. It is not about we have one team of people working over here in silo, we have another team of people working over here, whilst we have a vision of where we're going. That is disconnected. People working in silos will not enable you to start creating value within the organization and all the way upstream and downstream. We also want to be able to understand how people are feeling at the moment. What are their perceptions? What is the situation that they're in at the moment? And how can we better understand those people? So the first part for me is all about the human. Remember? I am human. Whilst we're here to talk about technology and work side by side with robots, we are still human. The people in the organization, the people who want to onboard that fresh talent, and our customers. But how do we do that? How do we create human centricity within our organization? So for me, it's about shifting mindsets. We need to go through a process that allows us to think differently. And this is another great process for you to be able to think about agility and how we can be agile within inside of organization. But every single person involved needs to shift the mindset. Not just the people up here, the people that are running the business, the C-suite, the vision that they've got. Your frontline workers need to be on board with this process. And so shifting that mindset to be future thinking is the starting point to this. Now, if we're going to create a culture of human centricity, we need to come away from thinking like this. What do we need to sell people? What can we do to them? How do they, get value from us? We need to shift our mindset and our tone of voice and our narrative and come away from being organization-centric to being customer-centric, which is where we start thinking about what's important to the value that we need to do for them. How can we create that value that enables them to do what's important to them? What do our people need to get done? How can we help them achieve their outcomes with what we've got going on? So it's a shift in narrative to go from doing things to them to being part of, to creating that value of being part of that community. And this for me is about being human-centric. During that process, we can really start to use technology to personalize things. Whether that's within the organization, and we've created a new digital initiative within our organization, and we want everybody to know about it. We can use a piece of technology, like UiPath, to send a message to every single person in our organization with their name on it, and telling them the value that it brings to them. Personalization. How can we connect with our B2B customers and make that journey personal for them? So the technology, the Cobots that we have, allow us to be a lot more personal and get closer connected to those human beings. So this for me is step number one around human centricity. The second part of this is this challenging word, resilience. I'm sure we've all felt this at different times for whatever reasons, especially over the last 2 or 3 years. And to create that resilience, just like I shared with you that quote earlier, 220 million years that tadpole shrimp's been on the earth for. So how do we create resilience inside of our organization? So right at the beginning of today, I said to you, I want to create competitive advantage for you. I want to give you some skills and tools to facilitate that outcome. And one of those tools is a framework called VUCA. VUCA stands for what's volatile in our market at the moment? Where's uncertainty around what's happening? What have we got that's really complex? And how do we know what we don't know? So when it comes to understanding that we have a volatile market, and we know that things are unstable, the knowledge that we have at the moment isn't sufficient for us to be able to achieve the goals that we want for our organization. So when there is volatility, I want you to step into and remember the vision of where you're going. We have a vision of what we want to achieve, whether it's in the next 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. Create a vision that when things are volatile in regards to what we're doing, we can align our organization to the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. Now, VUCA was created back in the 1980s, actually by another Warren called Warren Berris, who this was done for the American Army, when there were a lot of things that they didn't know. So they created a framework that enabled them to manage expectations. Not always solve the problem, but manage expectations. The second part is uncertainty. When things are uncertain, when we're looking at data and we're measuring this data, and the data is telling us something that we don't know. Maybe we've not measured what matters. Maybe we're looking at fresh new data that gives us new insight, which makes things a little bit uncertain for us. So when we have uncertainty, we need to create certainty. We need to understand what that looks like and build certainty into the core of our organization. Complexity. Now, some of the work that I do over is in the Middle East, and I love this saying. Data is the new oil. Things are complex at the moment, and just because of things that worked away in the past, don't work that way anymore. So when we have all of this complexity around what's going on, let's have some clarity. Let's create clarity in this world of complexity. And the final part is about ambiguity. It's the things that we don't know. Whether that puts doubt, whether that puts fear, whether that stops us from taking that next step, or actually saying to ourselves, We did fail with creating that digital initiative, but what did we learn from that? And then how can we recreate it in a way that does work? So when there's ambiguity, we want to have agility in our organization. So create a vision, have certainty, allow the organization to be able to know what's going on, and do it in an agile way. Because when I get my clicker in the right direction, I love this quote. Now, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but all the images today were created in Mid-Journey. So this is a picture of Albert Einstein, created inside of an AI tool, and the majority of the pictures as well. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we used when we created them. In other words, we need to think about doing things differently. We need to shift and have an agile mindset to do things, to think about this VUCA world that we're in at the moment. And this is a framework, this is a tool that you can take away and relook at your business again. Now, agility comes in a couple of different forms. And when we put agile into practice, we want to come from being agile to doing agility. And every single person in the organization takes responsibility for this as part of this Industry 5.0. Because it comes back down to the mindset. We also create value, and I've used that word a couple of times today, on purpose. Now, inside the agility framework, as I mentioned, I built technology companies and I work with dev teams. And so I saw the power of doing agile when we're creating technology with our business. And that in itself comes with a couple of principles and a couple of values. But we need to apply it. We need to take these frameworks and tools and processes that have been used over and over again, built technology companies to achieve that outcome. So put very simply, it's about incremental small changes that we need to make and giving the people a voice to be part of that journey that we're going on and making sure that when we are building these new initiatives, this new technology, it's built to work for those people. So I'm just going to break this down very quickly for you with 5 different dimensions for you to be thinking about. The first one, your self-awareness. When was the last time when you went into a meeting and maybe had a conversation and then after that meeting reflected, had a reflection point of, did we achieve what we wanted to achieve in that meeting? So having self-awareness is key as we go through an agility process. Our mental agility. There are 2 ways that we create value in our organization. We use divergent thinking, where we're free-flowing about all the ideas, and we use convergent thinking to think critically about solving that problem. This is allowing our mental agility to shift inside of these 2 cognitive processes to create value. The people. Do we understand not only the people in our organization, but the talent that we need to onboard? What is their value? And as I said, where's that value match around what's going on? To create that performance. Change, embracing change, stepping outside of our comfort zone and knowing that, change is change and it continuously happens. So be curious about what we need to do. And as I mentioned, look at the data. And sometimes that new data that we look at actually doesn't give us the answer that we were expecting. And that's okay. We can learn and grow from that information. So for the first time, we create this value using these digital products. And the third part of the Industry 5.0 is all about sustainability. Being sustainable. It's being part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I know this is very easy for me to stand up here and say this, but there are small things that we can do every single day. I did some work with the Qatari government, and we were talking about sustainability. And what shocked me about the government over there and the way that they're being sustainable is they don't recycle glass. Glass bottles that you get in a hotel, in a restaurant, and at home, they don't recycle their glass. So sustainability is a huge part of where we're going. And remember, a values match. Somebody coming into your organization has values. If those values match your sustainability and where you're going with your organization, we can onboard this fresh new talent. We can recycle secondary waste. We can look at the work that we do on a daily basis and just do that one thing that makes a difference. And let's not use this terminology as a way to greenwash what we're doing. It helps you become more efficient inside of your organization, ultimately helping you save money. And technology is the key that unlocks the door to this sustainability within our organization. So how do we do this? We need to create new data-driven business models. We need to reinvent the way that we have been working in our organization to achieve these 3 core pillars of Industry 5.0, or going back to the Siri and understanding where are we today and where do we need to be in the people, the process, and the technology journey. So I've spent a lot of time working in organizations, and for me, there are some core elements to the reasons why things fail, and I want to highlight them to you today. The first one is the strategy. Do we have a data-driven strategy that enables us to embrace the technology? Then we look at the tech. Have we got the right tech? We've got the right tech that enables us to do what we need to do. Are we using the technology and adding value with that technology? Being data-driven. So analyzing that data and make decisions on it, whether we're predicting those decisions by using this technology. We need to innovate. Innovate every single day in our organization. Every single innovation is acceptable. Everybody in your organization can create innovation, and every innovation is important, moving you towards your vision. Engage. Engage with your internal customer, the employees. Engage with your B2B audience and ask questions to achieve the outcome. And last, the skills. Do we have the competency to be able to deliver this? Now, with all of these building blocks, if at any time we remove one of these, which is where I see failure, is if we take that data-driven strategy out of the equation, we just create a better version of the past, which is where we go from analog to digital, digitization. And that's okay. That's the start of the journey. But if we don't have a data-driven strategy and we remove it, we don't go through our digitization and we continue our journey of our digital transformation. If we take away the technology, people get frustrated. We can't do what we need to do. If you take that tech away, we can't automate things off of our desk by using tools like UiPath. If we take the data and analytics out of the way, we get stagnation. If we don't know what we're creating those KPIs, if we don't know where we are today and where we're going, we just get stagnation. We take away the process and the innovation. We get incoherent actions. If we don't have the right tools like design thinking, like lean, like agility to create that innovation, then we just get sporadic things happening and sometimes often failure. We don't talk to the people, we get resistance. This is often when you have a heritage business that's been around for a couple of decades and you've told your internal customer that things are going to change and then they don't. And then you actually say to them, no, things are going to change. Yeah, I've heard that before. You get that resistance. And you take away the competencies, the upskilling opportunity with people. That's where those people just get anxious. I want to do what I want to do, but I don't have the skills to do it. But when we have all of these building blocks as we evolve into Industry 5.0, this is where we get everyday transformation happening. This is where we can go through our 4.0 into 5.0 effortlessly. So I just want to remind ourselves what we've been talking about today. Step number 1, when it comes to Industry 5.0, is about being human-centric. It's about allowing the people that they are genuine assets to our organization, creating well-being with those individuals, making sure that we've got the right talents and mastery to achieve that outcome, and bringing those people along the journey with us. Not sitting in silos, but bringing them along a journey. The second part was resilience, making sure that we upskill people so they're relevant in today's market, allowing those individuals to have agility and be ready, using tools like VUCA, like design thinking, to make sure that we're ready for the future and building these digital-enabled solutions. The final part is sustainability. It's taking ownership of our planet and the way that we run our business. because we are here to make a difference. And that's where values are respected, and we are part of the solution. We are not part of the problem. So what I'd like you to do, please, is to take all of these elements and create a DNA inside of your organization so that we can do it with them, for them. My name's Warren Knight. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Warren. You talked about Industry 5.0, and we had a question that what is it in 1 or 2 sentences? But you answered this question at the end of your talk very well.
Thank you.
But what will be Industry 6.0?
We've got to evolve from 3.0 to 4.0 first, right? Trust me, this was about the future of manufacturing. This is where we need to evolve into. And as I mentioned, this is an evolution, not a revolution. So I don't know is my easy answer to that question. Some of the technology that's around at the moment, if we even take things like the metaverse, right, where we're going to, and my wife hates this when I say this. I say, our kids are going to get married in the metaverse. And she's like, no, don't tell me that. So of course they're going to have a wedding, but they will meet friends all around the world that they want to engage with and have conversations with. They want to be able to buy, Prada handbags, and have an NFT, to be able to have at their wedding, whatever that might be. They want to go and buy a Coke, or drink a can of Coke and get a Coke hoodie, which you can buy in the metaverse. And all of this technology is evolving at the moment. What it's going to look like in the future is probably going to be very different today with cryptocurrencies and being able to buy assets in the digital space. And so as we evolve into this, again, we're looking at 6G. So 6G is going to be an enabler. So maybe Industry 6.0 will, 6G will become the enabler to achieve that happen.
But we will see this. So we will see how it turns out. What will it be? Or the journey ends with Industry 5.0? Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think the journey ever really ends at the moment.
So when we have more clear ideas what the Industry 6.0 would be, then we welcome you back. But meanwhile, here is a little present from Estonia. So please remember us. And I hope that some of our audience will ask you to come and guide them to Industry 5.0.
I'd love to help. Thank you very much.
It's 5.0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.